you'll never guess who rules the world. It's not a politician, CEO, or even a celebrity. In fact, it's an organization that operates in the shadows, pulling strings and controlling the world from behind the scenes. So who are these mysterious puppet masters? The answer will shock you. They're the Mafia. They may seem like a thing of the past, but believe it or not, they're more powerful than ever before. From illegal activities to legitimate businesses, they have their fingers in every pie, and not afraid to use their power to get what they want. So what exactly is the Mafia up to these days, and how do they continue to thrive? Let's find out. When we think of the Mafia, we imagine ruthless gangsters, illicit gambling dens, and bootlegging operations. These organizations were the epitome of organized crime in the early 20th century. But did you know that their influence goes far beyond what meets the eye? Today, the Mafia has infiltrated virtually every aspect of our society, from politics and business to entertainment and even the media. Their grip on the world is stronger than ever before. But how did they amass such power? The answer lies in the history of this shadowy organization. The Mafia's origins can be traced back to Sicily in the 19th century, where it emerged as a criminal organization involved in various illegal activities. However, it was until the early 20th century that it began to expand its operations to the United States, where it took root in the major cities and flourished. What followed was a series of events that shocked the nation and left people questioning how such a powerful organization could exist right under their noses. One of the most shocking revelations about the Mafia is their involvement in illegal activities. From drug trafficking to human trafficking, they've got their hands in every illicit pie. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of their operations is their control over the arms trade. You woe and believe the lengths they go to ensure that weapons end up in the hands of those who can pay top dollar for them. But it's not just about the money. The Mafia's involvement in the arms trade raises serious questions about the safety and security of our world. When an organization with such a shady reputation gets involved in supplying weapons, you can bet that there are some dangerous forces at play. And the truth is far more sinister than you might imagine. From secret stashes of deadly weapons to covert deals struck in the dead of night, the Mafia's activities in this area are nothing short of shocking. But it's not just illegal activities where the Mafia's influence is felt. They also have a strong presence in legitimate businesses, which makes it all the more difficult to identify and track their operations. In fact, it's estimated that the Mafia's legitimate businesses bring in billions of dollars each year. But what kind of businesses are we talking about here? The answer may surprise you. Everything from restaurants and casinos to construction companies, and even the sex industry is fair game for the Mafia. They've managed to infiltrate these industries and use them as a front for their illegal activities, making it almost impossible to distinguish the two. To make matters worse, the Mafia's presence in legitimate businesses is often overlooked or ignored by authorities, who are more focused on cracking down on illegal activities. This allows the Mafia to operate with relative impunity and makes it all the more difficult to dismantle their vast network. The Mafia's reach extends to every corner of our society, and it would be a mistake to think that they do and have a hand in everything. From politics to religion, no institution is safe from their grasp. You might be surprised to learn that the Mafia has deep ties to some of the most powerful politicians in the world. These shadowy figures are not above selling out their country. This interest for personal gain, and they are not afraid to use their influence to manipulate the system in their favor. In fact, the Mafia's influence in politics is so pervasive that it has become a common practice for politicians to pay off the mob in order to secure their votes or silence any potential opposition. This creates a vicious cycle where the Mafia becomes an integral part of the political process, and ordinary citizens' voices are drowned out by the sound of cash changing hands. But the Mafia's influence doesn't stop at the ballot box. They also have a significant presence in law enforcement and the judicial system, which allows them to operate with even more impunity. In some cases, members of law enforcement and the judiciary are directly employed by the Mafia, while in others, they're simply bought and paid for. This means that the Mafia has its eyes and ears everywhere, making it virtually impossible to gather intelligence on their activities or bring them to justice. Perhaps even more disturbing is the Mafia's influence on religion. Some religious leaders have been known to turn a blind eye to the mob's activities in exchange for donations or other forms of payment. This is not only morally reprehensible, but it also gives the Mafia a sense of legitimacy that they wouldn't otherwise have. In fact, the Mafia's infiltration of religious institutions is so widespread that it's become a common practice for them to launder money through churches and other religious organizations. This allows them to clean up their money and avoid detection by law enforcement, which makes it all the more difficult to take them down. But despite the Mafia's best efforts to stay hidden, there have been some high-profile cases in recent years that have exposed their inner workings and brought some of their members to justice. These cases have shown that the Mafia is not invincible, and that there are ways to take them down. However, it takes a lot of time, effort, and resources to bring these organizations to justice. For example, one of the most famous cases involving the Mafia was the prosecution of John Gotti, a powerful member of the Gambino crime family. The case was a landmark legal victory, and it showed that even the most powerful members of the Mafia were not above the law. However, it took years of investigation and the cooperation of several witnesses to bring Gotti to justice. Similarly, the RICO Act, or the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, has been a powerful tool in the fight against the Mafia. This law allows prosecutors to charge members of criminal organizations with a number of different crimes, even if they don't have direct evidence of their involvement in a particular crime. For example, if a member of the Mafia is involved in extortion, racketeering, or even murder, prosecutors can use the RICO Act to charge them with these crimes, even if they don't have direct evidence of their involvement. This has allowed law enforcement to break up many Mafia organizations and put their members behind bars. However, the Mafia is constantly evolving and adapting to the times, and they've become more sophisticated in their operations over the years. They've moved away from traditional methods of money laundering and extortion and have embraced new technologies to further their criminal activities. For example, the Mafia has been known to use the dark web to sell illegal goods and services. They've also been known to use social engineering and hacking to steal sensitive information and money. This means that law enforcement has to constantly evolve and adapt their strategies in order to stay one step ahead of the Mafia. As we've seen, the Mafia is a powerful and dangerous organization that operates in the shadows. Their influence extends to every corner of our society, and their activities can have a profound impact on our lives. While law enforcement has made some progress in taking down the Mafia, it's a constant battle that requires vigilance and determination. So the next time you hear about a high-profile case of extortion, money laundering, or any other form of organized crime, remember that the Mafia is still out there, and they're more dangerous than ever before. Now let's move on to the next video. Click the link provided to continue watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. See you in the next video.